civil society organizations have raised the alarm over an alleged plan to replace the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, and 6 resident electoral commissioners with loyal party members when their tenure expires by November. The stakeholders made this known yesterday in Abuja at the Conference of Thought Leaders on Civil Space, or Civic Space rather, Poverty and Elections in Nigeria, organized by Women's Rights Advancement and Protection Alternative in collaboration with African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development. They claimed that the plan, which had been set in motion, will be actualized within a period of 6 months when the electoral officials in question would have served out their statutory terms. Stakeholders warned against a repeat of a similar situation which took place in 1964 and 1965 federal elections, which they claimed put Nigeria on the path to a civil war and the most destructive phase in her growth and development. And Sobowale is a Rise News analyst. He joins us now to discuss this alarm being raised by the civil society organizations. Mr. Sobowale, always a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here as usual.
All right, so how concerning is this development regarding these allegations being put forward by the civil society group?
Well, it's an alarm, and it is welcome. It is welcome. It's not only the civil society organizations who have the right to do such things, but Professor Adele Jinodu, the well-known professor of political science, he gave a lecture there, and he was warning that people should be vigilant. I go along with that view, and I had my own opinion by quoting a Marxist maxim that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. So they are prompting the populace, the electorate, that you see they should be on the lookout so that people from the ruling party are not imposed as electoral officers. Electoral officers are supposed to be neutral, objective, transparent, and all that. So what they are trying to say now is that when the terms of some resident electoral commissioners expire, the process of replacing them should be seriously monitored so that it is not jeopardized in terms of integrity and neutrality of the referees of the election. Let me stop there for now.
Also, Mr. Sobowale, I really like that quote you highlighted. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Yeah. I'm wondering, in terms of the provision of our constitutions, are there any safeguards that we have in place to prevent partisan capture of INEC, and are they effective?
The rules are universal. You want to put people who are neutral, who are honest, who can be relied on. But then, the human phenomenon, it's not like arithmetic or physical sciences when you subject people to litmus tests. You can't put human beings in a laboratory for experiment. So the human factor is always there. But the best you can do is like we have always done. We have always done. Like when we have for commissioners, you have ministers. Instead of people scrutinizing their records and all that, they give them standing ovation and pass them on. And you know what? The rest is history. But this is fair warning. The only thing I do not like is the analogy of the 1964 election, which led to civil war. We have had several elections after 1964-65 now, which of course led to the civil war. And except for on one occasion, when I think it was a leader who later became head of state, who threatened thunder and brimstone if he lost the election, and he lost the election. But later he became president. We have had former military rulers who have changed from khaki to agbada, and they have become presidents. So I think they should not. I don't mind what the CSOs are saying. It is in order. I don't mind what Jinodu is saying. It is in order. But those who refer us to that 1964-65, they are being mischievous, and they are agents of doom, as far as I'm concerned. Let's leave it like that.
All right, so would you say, in view of all of this, how truly independent is INEC? Especially composition of its maybe staff members and what have you, those who actually run the place.
Well, opinions will vary. But I will give you mine. Mine is that, you see, even if they do not change the INEC leadership, it can offer to resign because it has done 1 or 2 elections now. And given the opprobrium that attended those, if I were in their position, I would ask them to give me some break and look for some assignment in one international body like the Nigerian rest of state normally do. See, there are always jobs like that available. You see jobs for election monitors. You see people who rig the elections one time or the other are going to another place to monitor the elections. It's not a parody of democracy and justice. Right. So, what the civil liberties organizations have done, what Jinodu has done, is to prompt us to be on the lookout. And I think what they are trying to say is that if you see somebody who has a questionable past in terms of integrity and honesty, prejudice and nepotism, you should point it out if they put that person up. And the authorities should listen. You get me? But you see, you cannot ever rule out partisanship. Because they will put people there, they know. It's not military rule. It's only during military rule that you can guarantee something. Even the military people, they will put people they know, relatives, schoolmates, and so on. That's how some people made it politically during military. But the military rule is over now. But then you have a robust democratic system, like I have said, and people will always monitor them. People will cry foul. In fact, you see, that was why somebody like El Rufai is fighting the system now. Because it was during this screening that they didn't pass him on. And he got aggrieved. And he's on the other side of the fence now. So that is it. You see, eternal vigilance, like I said, the price of liberty.
Okay,
it's not a tautology.
I think you mentioned earlier on that if we see people of questionable character, we should obviously sound the alarm.
I'm sure you will.
Oh, I will. I will. But unfortunately, we have seen times in the past where there's been an outcry of people with questionable character, and they've still emerged in those positions of authority more than in numerous cases. So beyond a public outcry, what concrete accountability mechanisms do we need to have in place to prevent this partisan appointments?
There's
concrete.
No need for any mechanism. Eternal vigilance is the price of it. Screen, let people give it. If you don't put out information.
About the take a bow and go, for instance.
Yes, it's wrong.
Are those how effective is screening methods like that?
It is wrong, but that is your system, and you live. You don't.
We should live with the
space.
system. We shouldn't try to correct it.
Are we applauding it? I'm condemning it. But if people who are elected by the people, I'm not a legislator. If the people elected by the electorate give people a standing ovation right before our eyes, what are you supposed to do? You can't change it. That's our system. You can't be a lone ranger against the rest of us. You can only have said, you see, you are holding the public account, the government accountable by what you are saying. They are listening. But you see, they say the majority has its way. The minority, which we have, under the president, must have his say. We only have our say. They have the power. You are looking at me.
What's the point of the outcry if it's going to fall on
deaf ears?
Deaf ears?
But outcries are mostly falling on deaf ears where politicians are concerned. Do you get me? That is the nature of politics. And we don't have a monitoring system like you have in the UK, the parliamentary system. Every Wednesday, there's question time. You see what the Nigerian lady is doing, leading the Tory party against the Prime Minister. What we are doing is monitoring the system. We can only talk. We can't force them. It's only the military that can force the democratic regime out, and we don't even want a military regime anyway.
So would it be an exercise in futility? Are we amenable to change with regards to that eternal vigilance you're talking about?
We remain eternally vigilant.
If we voice out these anomalies,
I doubt if we can, because we go into another field now.
Yeah.
See, the Nigerian political system, is so segregated, and I've said it before, that we got out of the colonialism of the Europeans only now to fall under the yoke and colonialism and hegemony of the political class. You see, and some of us, we don't join political organizations, but we vote for the government. And I'm not saying we have free and fair elections, which is part of what these people are trying to do now. That we are going to renew the contract of these people or replace them with new people, but don't put people only from your party. Yeah. We can monitor, we can criticize, and hopefully they will listen. But that's the nature of democracy. Dissent is allowed, which is what you are doing. Get me? But at the end of the day, it's the government elected that will take the decisions. And may God help us if they listen to us, and may God help us too if they don't. But that's democracy.
What a wonderful democracy we have in place.
Oh, yes. It's not peculiar to us. It's all over.
It doesn't make it right, but we would like to thank
that's
you
why
for
we are saying, That's why we are saying
right
it.
out of my mouth. Unique. Very unique.
Yes, unique democracy.
Well, Mr. Sobowale, it's been a pleasure having you join us as always. Thank you for joining us here on Newsday. We appreciate your time. Thank you.